Many games have their own simplified version of a real-world economy. The motivation of being the best and richest, as well as a drive to complete everything they can in the game, pushes players to strange limits. They warp the economy until it feels dystopian, and find ever more effective methods to make money, even at the cost of ruining their fellow players. My example of this will be Skyblock. When a player has just joined the game, they have no knowledge of the ladder they have started climbing. If they make it past the first few hours, days, and weeks, they often latch onto it without realizing. They begin to want more and more, so they look for ways to get what they desire. They look up how to make more money, some try to scam their peers. Some find a boring yet consistent way to keep the money flowing in, and they stick with it. Then comes the independence step. This is where innovation happens. The player makes their own variation of classic money-making methods. They flip new items on the auction, they automate the killing of some creature, or maybe they do work for other players in exchange for money. It is somewhere along this path that many face a moral crossroads. They can spend dozens, maybe hundreds of hours using their newfound methods, or they can buy the in-game currency with real money and cheat their way to a higher position on the ladder. Some, like myself, accidentally find a middle path. They use some morally questionable method to climb the ladder much faster, but also knock others down a few rungs in the process. An example of this is market manipulation. You create a fake standard price for an object. This fake standard price is much higher than the actual value. You then sell this object for the fake price and make a ton of profit. The player that bought the object will most likely have to sell it for the actual price once the price goes back down and lose money in the process. While all this is going on, the player is slowly progressing through the steps of in-game completion. Few players make it to the high levels of completion. To get there, it takes a massive amount of time and dedication for something that isn't really all that important in the real world. Climbing further up the ladder from here is where things get truly ridiculous. Players start completing parts of the game that aren't necessary or provide very little benefit, just to say that they did it. They max out levels of useless or purely cosmetic skills like carpentry, simply because not many others have. At this point, they have thousands of hours in the game. As they reach these ridiculous levels of completion, they have thoughts of being done with the game entirely. As I addressed in a recent video, this is not possible, as long as the developers keep updating the game and adding to the figurative ladder. The players keep climbing and watch the ladder as it continues to grow just a few hundred feet above them. And so the cycle continues. These players are now dedicating the majority of their waking hours to the game. If they have something else that takes up a lot of time in their life, they make room for Skyblock by sleeping less. Some grow tired of climbing and step off the ladder, or just stop for a little while. But there are always those that just keep pushing, and whether or not you think it's worth it, they certainly do. Because at least for a little while, they can enjoy the view from up in the clouds. But it's only until they stop climbing, or until the ladder topples.